Okay, again, what?
About an eye in the future.
You want a story about an eye in the future. Is that right?
Yes.
Hmm. Hmm. Okay. Okay. Hmm. No, look at that.
He gave you a real
Hmm. Real challenge.
Yeah. What is that kind of story?
Let me tell you a secret about my stories. I never know what I'm going to tell you. When you tell me what you want the story to be about, I the story sometimes comes to me. And what I'm doing, when I'm telling you the story, I barely know what the story is going to be about. But as I'm telling you the story, I'm listening to it myself. And if it's a good story, I'm enjoying it just as much as you. So my emotions about the story um, are what fuels the intensity of the story. If
Okay.
I feel that the story is boring, I'm gonna relate. I'm gonna tell it to you in a boring way because I get bored. If it was a story that I already knew that somebody else made up or that I already have made up, then I could fake it, but I can't because I'm making it up as I go. I'm not even making it up. I'm relating to you what I see in my mind. I start seeing things. It's like watching a movie that only I can see, but I tell it to you with my words.
Okay.
And so if it's a good movie, then I get all excited, and then I tell you the story in a very excited way, and it's interesting. Well, hopefully it's interesting. But that has another side effect or problem, which is that if I'm not feeling well, either because I'm sick, like it was about a month ago, or because emotionally I'm not good, or because I'm extremely tired, then even if I have a good story, it comes out dull. It comes out as not so good. Um, that's one reason why when I'm telling you a story and mommy comes and interrupts, I have to stop and that's the end of the story. Because it's like if I'm dreaming and somebody wakes me up, the whole thing is gone. The emotion of it, the flow of it. Again, it's not like I know what's going to happen in my story. If I knew, then I could just go back to telling you the story, but I don't know. I'm watching it at the same time as I'm telling it to you. Um, and that's also why when you tell me things that are very uh, boring for me, I'm like, no, let's choose something else. Like, I don't know if you remember one time when you kept saying, let's make up a story about farts. Let's farts, farts. Every day was farts. And I started telling you, let's do something different because I'm bored of that. And the same happens now with video games. I don't like video games, not for your age, definitely, and generally speaking, I don't like them. And I have explained to you why. It's not like I'm just going to tell you, don't play them. You play the game Sky quite often.
Yeah.
But I explained to you about what video games does to kids and to grown-ups too. So that's why. Anyways, sorry about that long introduction, but that's something I thought you should know.
Okay.
This is the story about a kid that had a very unique problem. You see, this kid had a normal body just like yours, two arms, two legs, two noses. Wait, one nose, sorry. Except he had an issue, a very weird issue. When you look at something, you just see it. You don't think about which eye you're using to see it, even though you have two eyes, right?
Yeah.
This kid was a little different. For his right eye would see things as they are, but his left eye would see things as they will be because his left eye lived in the future. For the most part, this was just annoying. For example, if he was eating his cereal, he would see the bowl full of cereal with his right eye, and he would see the bowl empty on his left eye because he knew that he was going to finish it. Sometimes it was somewhat dangerous because imagine you're riding a bicycle and you're about to make a right turn. Well, your your right eye is gonna tell you keep going straight because everything's fine, but his left eye is gonna tell you you're about to crash into that tree. But the tree was still far ahead. It's just that his eye was seeing into the future. So it's like, what do I do? Should I turn now or later? And the weirdest part was that if he turned early because of what he was seeing, everything would change on his left eye because the future had changed. But it was something he was born with. And so he sort of learned to live with that. The way he did it was simply by most of the times closing his left eye and only looking through his right eye. That way he could perform things normally. But if he wanted to uh, get something right and he wasn't sure what the right choice would be, he would open the left eye. Now, mind you, this is his eye, not his ear. For example, he couldn't ask somebody, hey, am I going to go to school tomorrow? And if somebody said yes or no, he couldn't hear it. He could see it, but not hear it. But he would sometimes do tricks like saying, hey, could you write the answer to the question that you asked me 10 minutes ago? And then somebody would write it because it's like, all right, I told you that 10 minutes ago, but I'll write it, yes. And then he would open his left eye quickly and read the answer. And he knew that in the past he would get this answer, and then he would get the right answer. And everybody thought that he knew all along, when in reality, his eye that was in the future had seen the answer. Or, for example, what if he doesn't know if he's going to like chocolate ice cream or strawberry ice cream? Well, all he needed to do, he would always carry a mirror with him, right? And so he would eat the chocolate ice cream and put a mirror in front of his face and look at his face and open his left eye. So his left eye would communicate with his past self. And if you would look, his face would be like, ew, chocolate ice cream is yucky. Then his past self would choose strawberry ice cream. So he always got the right answer. I don't know if this is too complicated to follow, but he was always living in the future with his left eye and in the present or the past with his right eye. Because the same goes in reverse. If you are all the time looking at life with your left eye, then that left eye communicates with you in the past. Anyways, one day he was with his mom in a store and they were buying some things. When suddenly he felt itchy on his left eye, and so he started rubbing it, but he usually kept his left eye closed. And when he rubbed it, he opened his left eye and he saw that everything was shaking. Everything was shaking really bad, and things were falling everywhere. And so he realized what he was seeing. There was going to be an earthquake. And so he grabbed his mom and said, Mom, we need to leave right now. And he started pulling her out of the store and running out. And his mom was like, what's going on? What's going on? No time to explain. Let's run. And no sooner they had left the store when the earthquake started. And things started falling, and a lot of people got hurt inside of the store, but they were safe because they were outside. His mom was surprised. He was like, wow, what happened? How did you know this? But he didn't want to tell her his secret. So he just said, um, well, I just felt that I needed to go outside because I wanted to pee and I don't like the bathroom in here. His mom thought that was really odd, but she thought, well, at least we're safe. And they went back home. Another day, a few months later, they were driving and he was sitting in the back seat and suddenly he saw the mirror, the mirror that's in front of the driver,
Yeah.
and he wanted to check his face just for fun because he was bored in the car. And he opened his left eye and he checked his face from the future, and he was covering his ears and going la 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 la. And so he thought, that's weird. What's why would I do that? And suddenly the most annoying song in the world came out on the radio. And he covered his ears and started going la 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 la. And his mom was, you don't like this song? La 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 la. No, I hate it. La 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 la. So his mom changed the song. And that was his life. He had an eye that could see into the future. But one day, something very strange happened.
What?
He opened his left eye and he couldn't see into the future anymore, or at least so he thought. He was in his room looking out the window, and sometimes he would pretend to play racing with cars because he could see a car going through with his right eye, and if he opened his left eye, the car would be much further ahead because he was looking in the future. Well, this time he opened his left eye, and it was the same car going in the same place. And he thought, oh no, I've lost my future eye. That's weird. So he went running downstairs to do a test. He turned on the television, and he looked at the television with the left eye and then with the right eye, and sure enough, he could clearly see that everything was fine. He still had his magical future eye. And so he thought, that's very strange. Why would I have seen that car going in the same place at the same time with both my eyes? Oh, whatever. And he didn't think much about it. But he did remember that it was a red car. It was like a race car or something. That's why he remembered it. It was a very unique car. Well, a few days passed, and one day he was at the walking in the streets with his dad, and he saw a car that looked exactly like that one. And so he decided to make an experiment. He opened his left eye, and sure enough, both eyes would see the car in the same place at the same time, while everything else was shifted in time and space. This was so strange and so bizarre. He's never experienced that in his whole life. He didn't know what to make of it. But alas, the car just left, took off, and he didn't see it again for quite a while. Until one day, when he was at a friend's party, he saw this car parked in front of the street, or at least he thought it was this car. Now here's the problem. When something is moving, you can compare the past and the future by looking at this thing because it could be in different positions. All right, like if a car is moving forward, it'll be further ahead in the future. But this car was parked. What?
Like another thing you can see in the future is like I can show you with toy cars tomorrow, but I can show you with my hands. Imagine there's that exact same race car, and it's at the edge in here, and you can see on the future that if it's at the edge, you totally know it's gonna turn to a different route.
Exactly.
So you can see the future like that. That's how I see the future, and I can only see the future like that. And where the and car is going, and some cars they're just at the edge and they don't go that way, which is weird
Mhm.
because all cars are supposed to do that.
Mhm. Should I continue?
Yes.
And so he couldn't see if the car was at the same place with both eyes because he was just parked, or it was because it was the same car. That was the only thing that both eyes would see at the same place at the same time. And so he approached the car. It had tinted windows, so he couldn't see much inside. He started looking and looking at it, but this time he was looking at it with both eyes. And suddenly, something strange happened.
What is it?
With his left eye, he saw a window opening in the car, and he saw a strange man inside. But with the right eye, the window was still closed. So he took 2 steps back, and he was about to go home when the window came down. "Hey, kid, I think I've seen you before," said the strange man. He closed his left eye so he could have a conversation without focusing on the future, and said, "Well, I have seen you before too." "Yes, indeed, you have seen me. And you know about my secret, don't you?" The kid pretended to know what he was talking about because he didn't want to seem like he was clueless. So he said, "I think I know about your secret." "Well, then if you do, how can you explain it?" said the mysterious man. He was in a pickle. How to answer this? How to answer this? He opened his left eye to just glance a little bit at the future, and he thought he was going to answer, "I don't know," but he saw that the man was closing the window and leaving. So he said, "I'll explain to you if you show me the inside of your car." And he saw with his left eye that the man was opening the car and letting him see inside. And so he said that. And when the man opened the car and he saw inside, it didn't look like a car. It looked like a spaceship inside. It had all sorts of lights and weird things that he had never seen. He didn't want to seem like he didn't have a clue what was going on. So he said, "Oh, so it's one of these machines. Yeah, I'm very familiar with these things." Totally lied. He had no clue what he was looking at, but he just wanted to play along. "Well, I'm glad I found someone that knows exactly what this is, because I have no clue," said the man. "Here, you drive it." "Uh-oh," said the kid. But how could he pass up the opportunity to at least get a chance to look inside this spaceship slash race car, right?
Yeah.
And so he went inside, he sat in the driver's seat, and as soon as he sat there, the whole seat changed shape to accommodate his body. It was the most comfortable seat he's ever been in. And he closed the door. This guy sat on the seat next to him. He closed the door, and when he did, it was like the whole car became bigger on the inside, and the shape changed. He couldn't understand how. He decided to try to push a button, but as he was about to push one button, he opened his left eye, and he saw that both him and this guy were slung against the back of the car, like the car accelerated way too fast, and they were about to die. So he changed spine. He hovered his finger above another button, and this time he saw that the car had filled with water and they were drowning. So he took his finger quickly out of that button. Then he put his hand above a big button, and this time he looked with his left eye and saw the future, that they were fine and they seemed to have been flying. And so he put his hand there, and the car suddenly started floating. "Ooh, this looks great." And of course, the guy thought that he knew how to drive the car, or fly it in any case. But it's not the case that he knew, it's just that he could see in the future with his left eye. So everything that he was about to touch, he would first check with his left eye to see what it would do. There was one button that made a ton of popcorn rain from the ceiling. Like they were up to their necks in popcorn. So he didn't touch that one. Then he hovered his finger over a small lever, tiny, tiny one. He was about to swing it up when he saw with his left eye that a bunch of bunnies were being released. And he thought, oh no, I don't want bunnies right now. They're going to distract me. They're way too cute, so he didn't move that one. And then there was another one. And this time, when he pushed that button, the car suddenly went back down and parked in the same place in front of his house where he was before. And so he pushed that button, and the car went down slowly and parked perfectly. And the guy said, I have never seen anybody that could fly this machine on the first try. You have a gift. I have a proposition for you, said the guy. What is it? Every time you want to go somewhere, meet me out here, and I will let you drive my car. But in exchange, when I want to go somewhere, I want you to be my driver. The kid thought that this was a dream come true, the best opportunity in the world. And so he said, yes. And then that's how he became the personal driver of the sports race spaceship of the mysterious guy. All thanks to his eye that could see the future. The end.